Oh, hello there. My name is Chris Sampsell. You may remember me from such assignments as Unit 1, Scholarly Activity, or Unit 5, Article Review. Today, we'll be going over memory and communication and how these two work their way through the human brain. Stimulus response and perceptual learning would be directly affected by one's environment. Stimulus response learning occurs when an individual learns to perform a specific behavior when a particular stimulus occurs. If the environment is not conducive for the individual to be able to easily identify the response-inducing stimulus, then that individual may not respond properly. Perceptual learning refers to one's ability to recognize stimuli that has already been encountered in the past. This learning can also be negatively affected by an individual's environment if said environment introduced too many perceptual stimuli for one to accurately recognize the previously encountered stimuli. Sensory memory would also be undoubtedly affected by one's environment. Sensory memory is a brief period of time, ranging from fractions of a second to a few seconds, that the initial sensation of environmental stimuli is initially remembered. In order to grasp the original sensory memory, an individual would have to be in an environment conducive for clear recognition of each associated stimuli. If an individual was being bombarded with many different and/or conflicting stimuli while initially processing information into sensory memory, that sensory memory may not be properly passed, if passed at all, into short-term memory. Without this occurrence, there is no chance of the information subsequently progressing through short-term memory into long-term memory. The process of learning and then forming memories involves sensory, cortical, and subcortical processes. Once our senses perceive outside stimuli, they move this information to the proper sensory association cortex. Activation of neural circuits in the sensory association cortex constitutes the replay of a perceptual memory. In 2006, Dr. Goldberg and his associates found that questions about flavor activated the gustatory cortex. Questions about tactile information activated the somatosensory cortex, and questions about visual and auditory information activated the visual and auditory association cortex. This information then undergoes a subcortical process, which includes the hippocampus. The hippocampus receives information from the sensory association cortex, motor association cortex, the basal ganglia, and amygdala in order to consolidate and modify memories. Outputs of the hippocampus return to the cortical areas from which inputs arose, i.e., the perirenal lateral entorhinal cortex and parahippocampal medial entorhinal cortex. These feedback pathways allow the hippocampus to support the retrieval of information about what occurred based on a cue about where an event occurred, and vice versa. This helps create relationships between different aspects of memories and allows us to remember memories within their proper contexts. Communication is mediated through multiple areas of the brain. Auditory information is first recognized by the primary auditory cortex. Information is then passed onto Wernicke's area, which is responsible for word recognition. Next, information proceeds to the posterior language area, which consolidates auditory information with the past memories and/or perceived stimuli. Finally, this consolidated information then moves on to the Broca's area, where speech production occurs. The speech produced by one individual would then be perceived as auditory information by the next individual, starting the cycle all over again. I hope this brief video helped you recognize and understand the neurological pathways of memory and communication in the brain. If you have any questions or concerns regarding anything I've laid out today, feel free to contact me at my office. My office number is 555-627-1984. Again, that number is 555-627-1984. Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Till next time, bid you farewell.